Well, welcome to this episode of our program, Daily Debate. As usual, we will be discussing an important topic. Again and again, we're focusing on youth, their abilities, their capabilities, how the leadership is so much interested in investing in this human capital, which is a source of richness to this state, how the leadership is so confident of the abilities of our youth to be able to put strategies, have the leadership positions, start the future or a bright future for this state. This is exactly what we will be speaking about tonight. We'll also be focusing on how important youth empowerment is critical for this nation to flourish, and at the same time the measures taken by the government, by the leadership, in order to empower those youth, measures that were taken so far, putting them in different positions, particularly high-ranking ones, emphasizing also the potentials of our youth and how we, or the leadership has been investing through many of the initiatives that were initiated starting a few years ago. We'll also be speaking about raising awareness, because at this very particular time we're speaking about raising the awareness of our youth is so important for those generations to come, in order to understand how to accomplish their own missions, what challenges are they facing in the future, what challenges are facing the nation and the state at large, and their ability to confront those challenges. We'll be speaking about that and more with our guest today, our distinguished guest, Mr. Mohamed Amer, member of the Presidential Leadership Program, the PLP, and coordinator of the International Relations and Conferences. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Madam Mona. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here in the Egyptian television and to be hosted in your insightful daily debate. I think it's a privilege to be here.
The privilege and the pleasure is all ours. Thank you so much. And before we delve on with our discussion, let's first have this quick report. And President Sisi greets Egyptian youth on World Youth Day. Let's watch.
قررت أن يكون العام 2016 عاما للشباب المصري.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi marked the International Youth Day held annually on August 12th, saying the Egyptian youth are half the present and all the future. The President also expressed full confidence in the young people's determination to contribute to achieving the dream of the nation. On his social media account, the President said that on International Youth Day, I pay tribute to the great youth of Egypt. They are half the present and the entire future. He added that with the hands of our youth, our dear nation is writing an exceptional history of work, construction, and advancement. He stressed his absolute confidence in the youth of Egypt and their enthusiasm and determination, so that our original dream of building a homeland of glory, pride, and dignity is achieved, stressing that with its youth, long live Egypt. President al-Sisi has affirmed in many occasions his support and confidence in the Egyptian youth and asserted that the state is always and eternally willing to support its youth to achieve their dreams and hopes for the future. August 12th has been designated International Youth Day by the United Nations since 2000. Since President al-Sisi took office in 2014, the government has held almost a dozen of national youth conferences. Each was held in a different governorate to ensure the engagement of youth across the country. The President also launched in 2017 the World Youth Forum, of which 3 editions took place. The forums consisted of around 9 parallel sessions and workshops daily for almost a week, offering a platform for youth from around the globe to share their success stories, experience, and research projects, and to hold dialogue with panelists who are experts in various fields and international officials. Youth with remarkable achievements receive awards in the closing ceremony. President Sisi took practical mechanisms to integrate young people into various executive institutions. He stressed the need to have within the ministries, government agencies and governorates a considerable number of young people who have the ability to give and work. President Sisi launched the presidential program for qualifying youth for leadership with the aim of creating a strong and rich base of youth competencies in order to be eligible for political, administrative and community work in the country. The head of state, the president, issued Presidential Decree number 434 of 2017 establishing the National Academy for Training and Qualifying Youth, which aims to meet the human development requirements of youth cadres in all sectors of the country and upgrading their capabilities and skills. Sisi also pledged to train those young people in Nasser Military Academy, which the academy has already begun to implement the training in 2014 by organizing courses on the topic of national strategy and national security, in which large numbers of young people working in government bodies participated.
Right, welcome back. And youth with their energy, with their enthusiasm, with their creativity, innovation, with their youth, all these are factors for us to be proud of, but also to work on investing on those calibers. Let me again welcome our distinguished guest, Mr. Mohamed Amer, member of the Presidential Leadership Program, the PNP, and coordinator of the International Relations and Conferences.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again for being with us. And let me start with the leadership and why emphasizing on youth. And we're speaking about the very first minute since President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi assumed office.
Yes.
One of the prior files that was put on the table was youth.
Yes, of course.
Please.
Okay, so it's safe and sound to say that since day one, Mr. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi took office in the presidency, his milestone project was empowering young people. He even named the year of 2016 as the Year of Youth. His main project was the Presidential Leadership Program, which I'm proud to be a member of. The Presidential Leadership Program, or the PLP, is mainly based on the main objective of empowering young people and making a large reserve of young people who are going to be capable of leading the administrative system in Egypt. So now we can see that the administrative system is being injected with young people and young names. You can see, for example, he's not a member of Presidential Leadership Program, but he is a young face. Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madboul, who is young, active, fresh. You can see him every single day monitoring the projects of the government. He is
No, actually,
opening
we
the projects.
have
Yes,
the leadership and the government.
it's young
They
and
don't
fresh.
sleep.
Yeah, of course. They're not
They don't
sitting
sleep.
behind their desks. Never.
We every day we are surprised with the visit of the president to somewhere in the country where he's
of course.
following himself the projects and
Yes,
whatsoever.
of
The
course.
prime minister is always
Yes,
keen to follow
So
up
he's
with
a
the.
model example for us.
So yes, indeed.
Yes. So the program, we had a lot of examples in the past for the program since days of leader Gamal Abdel Nasser, President Sadat, and even President Hosni Mubarak. But this program during the time of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is much different from the days of the last presidents because it's much more developed. It's based on consistency of work.
No, because
So
we had PLP before President Sisi.
something
Really?
like that. It's an example. It's an example. It was there during the leader of the Gamal Abdel Nasser. It was there, but I think
Was not activated.
Yeah, this one is much more developed.
Wait. Let me know more about, since you brought up the, or you started with the initiatives, the presidential initiatives, then there were maybe 7 presidential initiatives, but
Yes.
3 of them were consistently for youth.
Yes.
So if I may ask you here about the PLP and what is the Presidential Leadership Program and what it consists of, why is it essential for youth to attend and how it benefits them?
Yes. In a nutshell, Presidential Leadership Program is a school. It's a program. It's a platform for young people to learn administrative sciences. They are going to learn a lot of sciences related to administration, political sciences, strategic sciences. During the duration of 8 months, a lot of young people accounting for, we have 3 batches till now. Every single batch has like 500 young people. So we learn a lot of administrative, strategic, and political sciences, and then we are being injected into the administrative system. So this was the dream of President Abdel Fattah, is to have a large reserve of young people with a lot of potentials, with a lot of capacities to be injected in the administrative system. He wanted to replace the old senior employees in the system with young and fresh people. So I think his dream is coming true.
What is the difference between this initiative or the Presidential Leadership Program and, for an instance, the decree or the Presidential Decree of 434 of 2017 establishing the National Academy for Training and Qualifying Youth?
Okay, I think this one is much different because it's mainly based on young people ideas and dreams. The idea itself, it was pushed away by young people. So on the table, papers are being put and established and being executed by young people. So this is the main difference. It's being derived by young people.
What I mean here is that the PLP is preparing calibrists in order to be able to assume posts and leadership posts in the future, while the this academy is training and qualifying them, is helping. Beside, also there is this one of Nasser Military Academy.
Yes.
And since we are focusing today on raising awareness, this very particular academy is working on this very specific issue. How far was or that initiative is important? How far is the leadership focusing on pushing our youth towards going through such training courses?
Thank you so much for a nice question. One of the main products of the Presidential Leadership Program was the National Training Academy, which is being established on the same objective of the Presidential Leadership Program. The NTA has attracted a lot of young people to study the same products or the same sciences that we studied. But this time, it's not regionally, it's not nationally, it's internationally. We have a lot of products coming out of the NTAs like PLP, the APLP, which is the African Presidential Leadership Program. So we are getting African young people from their own countries to study here with us, and then they get back to their countries with new, fresher ideas, and then we contribute to the development of our countries and our continent. So I think it's a very good product from the PLP. So the PLP generated a lot of products.
We're speaking here about training courses that are targeting really the national strategy and the national security.
Yes.
And when you spoke about engaging our youngsters in such training courses, you also spoke about taking or bringing African youths so that they can be aware of challenges that not only facing Egypt, but rather the whole continent.
Of course.
How far does this raise the awareness of our youth here in Egypt and in the continent?
Yes.
I guess we are also accepting some Arabs.
Yes, of course.
Yes. So how far is this really, or these courses are really raising the awareness of our youths towards the challenges that are facing the region, the continent?
Okay, let me tell you that studying at Nasser Academy during the time of Presidential Leadership Program has been a very helpful duration for me. I can compare my mindset before it and after it. I learned a lot of strategic political sciences at Nasser Academy. I learned about the danger of the Gerd Dam in Ethiopia. By the way, I wrote a paper at Nasser Academy at the danger of the Gerd Academy, the disputed
dam.
Yes, of course, the dam, and it was under the supervision of high-ranking officers and supervisors. So I learned a lot of information. I got myself into books, papers, and I got a lot of information out of Nasser Academy. So I think young people, when they have this experience, they are going to have different mindset, much more developed mindset in order to face the challenges that we are facing right now.
Are we speaking about engaging our youth or raising their awareness in knowing the challenges, or also in contributing towards the continent and towards the sustainable development or the development of their own countries?
Yes, of course. I got the honor to be a member of Nasser Academy, and I had a lot of mates and colleagues from African countries, and they meet us. They say, like, we had a lot of fake information about you, about young people in Egypt, and about Egypt itself. So when they learned it and studied at Nasser Academy, they had a lot of new, fresher information and away from fake news, away from new rumors. So I think we contributed a lot to informing these countries, attracting these countries towards us. So we say that we are stemming from the African continent. We are stemming from the African mother.
It's our grassroots.
So I think that this is our root. So we are getting back to our roots.
So let me here speak to you as an Egyptian, African woman.
Well, even we have a lot of Arabs at the NTA Academy.
Yes, so I'm part of all that, because we are part of all that, right?
Of course,
Aren't
of course.
you? But here, some Africans say that they know much about Egypt,
Yes.
but we don't know much about Africans. So how are we dealing with this? I mean here, how courses as such is minimizing gaps
Yes,
between youth from different nations, and how would that, or this get to know,
yes,
or these gatherings are really emphasizing a kind of cross culture or cross relation among youths?
yes, of course. Let me tell you something important. These courses are not limited to the PLP. You can go to Nasser Academy and study there. So every single citizen in Egypt can go there and study. They can know a lot of new information about African countries, about the challenges that meet us or face us during the current duration. So I think studying there, it's a very important thing for our young people in order to get much more information about our roots. I think these courses are very important, and by the way, they are very affordable.
Right. Here, I'm taking you from the presidential initiatives and getting to the fruits reaped after several years of implementing such initiatives. And let me here ask you about this year, this very particular year. We have seen much of our youth, or those youth who we invested in, are taking leading positions.
Yes,
and we have seen many youth assuming posts in the parliaments, in governments, in the Senate.
Yes.
Tell me all about that, and tell me how is that emphasizing our measures or the leadership measures that have been taken in order to empower you?
This is why I told you that the dream of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi came true, because after every single cabinet reshuffle, you can see fresh and new and young names. You can see ministers, vice ministers, governors, deputy governors. They are young, they are fresh, they have new ideas. So you can see a lot of young people assuming high-ranking positions. This is the main objective of the programs that initiated by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. And by the way, in the future, you are going to see much more young people in these positions.
But this time it's different.
Yes.
You know why? Because ministers, deputy ministers, governors, or even deputy governors,
yes.
They are implementing a strategy of the country.
Yes, of course, but with fresher minds.
Senates and parliaments,
Yes.
we're speaking about brain swarming minds all
Yes.
together in order to come with a strategy for this
Yes.
nation. And
Yes.
this is the difference, that
Yes.
engaging youth into those two areas, how far was that? Because we have seen some of them assigned by the president himself.
Yes, they were appointed in the parliament
Indeed.
by President Fattah. So
Indeed.
whether they appointed or being elected by the people, young people are being in the parliament. They are monitoring young people in the cabinet. So we have a lot of young people everywhere. But it's very important to be in the Senate and the parliament, because this is the goal of the jurisdiction in Egypt. I think it's very important to see young people in a lot of high-ranking positions.
We are, but
Yes,
we are really.
Yes, that's why I told you that his dream is coming true.
Well, before we continue on, but let me just remember that we'll be speaking about the measures that have been taken so far to empower youth.
Yes.
From different spheres, I mean educational, economic.
Yes.
We'll be speaking about that, but before we continue on with our discussion, let's have this quick report. And Egypt advances 13 places in Commonwealth Youth Development Index, according to the sports minister. Let's watch.
Sports Minister Ashraf Subhi, Minister of Youth and Sports, has announced that Egypt advanced 13 places in the Youth Development Index, developed by the Commonwealth Secretariat in 2020. He said during the past 7 years, the Egyptian state has sought to achieve comprehensive development in all fields and has already accomplished a lot, including developing and building the capacity of youth. The YDI measures the status of young people in 183 countries around the world. The index is a comprehensive measure across 5 domains that are critical to youth development: education, health, employment, civic participation, and political participation. Subhi continued, the political leadership was interested in the field of youth empowerment. He added that investing in the individual was one of the most important priorities for President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, which was clearly demonstrated in the strategy for building the Egyptian person, in addition to the programs and activities presented by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Subhi asserted that the state seeks to advance Egypt to higher ranks in the YDI in light of preparing to launch the Egyptian National Strategy for Youth, which is a roadmap for the next 5 years. Egypt ranked 123rd with a rating of 0.624 in 2020, compared to the 138th place with a 0.53 rating in 2016. Singapore ranked first for the first time, followed by Slovenia, Norway, Malta, and Denmark. Meanwhile, Chad, the Central African Republic, South Sudan, Afghanistan, and Niger occupied last rankings respectively. Afghanistan, India, Russia, Ethiopia, and Burkina Faso were the best improving countries on the index, advancing their scores on average by 15.74%. On the other hand, Syria, Ukraine, Libya, Jordan, and Lebanon declined the most in terms of youth development.
Right, welcome back, and back to you, Mr. Mohamed. And let me here ask you now, throughout the past years, the main parts of empowering youth were focusing on social, educational,
Yes.
economic, political,
Yes.
and even psychological.
Yes, of course.
Tell me how the state has worked on those areas.
Let me focus on the most important part of it, education, with the emergence of the plan that put by Dr. Tariq Shawqi, Minister of Education. It's an ambitious plan to develop the education system in Egypt under the supervision of President Fattah al-Sisi. The plan was established like 5 to 6 years from now. It has only one objective, to develop the educational system of Egypt and to get higher ranks in the international ranking system of education. We now put other plans to develop education using technology and modern technology. You can see now in our formal schools, We can see tablets, computers, laptops being distributed to the students. So I think students are studying modern sciences using modern technology. I think this is helping a lot of generating a lot of good educators and good learners at the same time.
We're speaking here about the elementary education.
Elementary, reaching out to the high school. So I think...
but higher education also shows some progress in
yes.
the enormous change.
Of course, let me speak about my own university. It's much more developed now. We have a lot of labs. We have much larger classrooms and much developed professors. I think people are developing themselves in order to reach out to the world.
How about coordinating with international universities to
Yes.
come and start their own
Yes. We have a
universities
lot of,
here,
yes.
and starting with the technological, the very specified technological
You can
universities?
see now in every single city, on every single university, there is a new university focusing on modern technology sciences.
Faculties, new
yes,
faculties that
course,
have been...
Of course, there are a lot of universities focusing on this kind of science because the job market needs this kind of science. Old sciences and useless sciences are now, they have no place. So educators, learners are now being educated or learning. They are learning new sciences so they can reach out to the job market and get their own job opportunities. So I think the existence of such universities in every single city now, and even in the Titanic and new cities like Al-Galala, Al-Mansoura, the new administrative capital.
Did you hear
can
the
see this.
latest press conference that was held by the Minister of Education and Higher
Yes, of
Education to
course,
announce
yes,
Amer?
yes, of course.
Definitely. And they spoke about more than 75 chances.
Yes, of course.
75 chances for each student to admit to.
Of course, there is zero unemployment opportunity for those who study technological sciences. Zero unemployment. I think this is the future. The future lies there.
Yes.
Yes.
We're speaking that the chances have maximized to an enormous, I mean here, that the student has 75 chances or 75 choices to
Yes.
apply for 75 universities.
Yes, of course. And by the way, I think the state is getting us out of the typical idea of getting graduated from the formal education and waiting for the formal employment in the government. No, now you can learn a lot of technological sciences and you are going to have your own dream job.
Before I speak of why was that essential for youth to be contributing to what the leadership has been calling several times, which is the New Republic, let me here ask you about economy. Because economically, there was such a focus on empowering youth economically in several ways.
Yes.
Please.
Okay, let me tell you that the state is encouraging a lot of SMEs, which is the small, medium, and even large enterprises for young people. As I told you before, you do not have to wait the formal employment in the government. You can open your own company, you can open your own startup using your own ideas, your own goals. So we have a lot of loans provided by the national and international banks. They are giving them funds, and even there are a lot of fundraisers supporting young people to open their own companies and enterprises. This is contributing a lot to the economic growth of Egypt because these startups are generating job opportunities, and then these job opportunities are generating further job opportunities for young people. So I think it's a cycle.
Indeed. Here there was this initiative that, upon the directives of President Sisi himself, the Central Bank of Egypt has been allocating a big amount, a huge amount of money for the entrepreneurs and the startups. But also one other issue, which was what should they be investing in? What opportunities do they have? A kind of feasibility study that they have submitted for those youth in order to know and understand what they are getting in.
Yes.
Right. That's from the fund issue. Another section was Haya Karim,
Yes.
decent life.
Yes.
And part of it was very much focusing on youth.
Yes, of course.
Tell me about that.
Youth are the main engine of Haya Karim, and Haya Karim is a main product of young people, and it's a main product of the PLP. In the year of 2018, one of the presidential leadership
Just to
program young
remind
people,
people,
yes.
let's say it was a big and small idea
Yes,
that
it was a
was
small
brought
idea,
up in one
yes.
of the youth conferences and
Yes,
then emerged
it was
as
presented before the president, and he adopted it. So
the biggest
yes, of course.
project in the
And this is
Egyptian
the
history. Yes.
this is the social aspect of the story. We have a lot of, and I'm sad to tell you this. We have a lot of poor villages in Egypt. So Haya Karimi is focusing mainly on developing these farms, villages.
Urban areas.
Yes, of course, of course. It's called Haya Karimi. It's called decent life because it's aiming to provide decent life for those who deserve it. The Egyptian people deserve a lot of decent lives. So I think we're focusing on this. This is the main problem.
What exactly is the government here preparing from this very particular
Yes.
project for youth?
Yes. The product. Are you talking about Haya Karima? So
Yes.
the government gathered a lot of information about 1,000 poor villages in Egypt. So they gathered a lot of information. So they distributed a lot of services to these villages, which deserve the best. So you can say water services, you can say pumping services, farming, paving roads, and a lot of services being rushed into these villages.
And how is this reflecting on you?
As I told you, young people are the main engine of the project itself. So we have a lot of young people in these villages. If you are dealing with them in a good way, in a respectful way, they are going to be one of us, one of the big family of Egypt. So it's a social and a political one.
So you mean here it is, in a way, creating job opportunities or giving them the ability to contribute?
They are living in a decent life. They have decent life. They have better education. They have a better future. So they have decent life.
Right. We've been working, or the state has been working on ensuring
Yes.
the effective participation of youth.
Yes.
How has the government worked on that, and how is it, or what plans and programs is the government putting in order to carry on with that?
Yes, as I told you before, this is the big dream of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. A lot of products are being now pushed into the country. And by the way, let me tell you about the World Youth Forum itself. It's a product of the government, and it's a product of young people. World Youth Forum, it's being held annually at the city of Sharm el-Sheikh. It has now 3 versions in 2017, 18, and 19. Now it's temporarily postponed due to the repercussions of COVID-19 pandemic, but you can see that we have a lot of new ideas showcased during the last 3 versions of World Youth Forum. Now they are being adopted in the street by the country itself. So the state, I think the state used and seized the opportunity of the World Youth Forum to, in order to make these ideas viable.
You brought up the issue of youth conferences, and that
Yes.
was very much one of the best issues that has happened in the Egyptian history or life.
Yes.
This direct contact between the leadership and youth.
Yes.
And the adoption of the leadership of the many initiatives that were brought up by the youth. How do you view that, and how does that reflect on this direct contact
Yes.
between the leadership and
It's
youth?
excellent. It's excellent for the first time in our history. You can tell your own project. You can tell your own dream to the president himself. he initiated the PLB, he initiated the World Youth Forum. I think this is a very, very promising way of contact with young people. If you have a dream, if you have a problem, if you have an issue, you can showcase your own thing before the president, and I think you're going to have your own dream adopted, you're going to have your issue resolved, you are going to have your own project adopted by the country. I think the president is listening to us for the first time in a long time.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
So how that reflected on youth, and how did youth feel about that?
It's confidence. He is generating confidence in ourselves. We
I mean
we
here
trust.
that the president was very keen to answer each and every question himself, and he did not mind any of the very even critical
Yes,
questions
yes.
that were
Young
asked
people.
by Egyptians, by Africans, and even during the World Youth Forum, remember?
Yes, the president assumed chair in 2014. 2 years later, he named the year of 2016 the year of youth. This shows you how he is interested in young people, and he believes that young people are the main engine of the state. If you want to have a developed country, focus on young people. I think he believes in this.
When we speak about the linkage between the youth empowerment and their participation in the state's sustainable development
Yes.
strategy.
Yes.
Tell me the relevance here, and tell me the linkage between those two issues here.
Yes, as I told you before, the state is focusing on the main aspects of the sustainable development goals. Socially, we talked about the Haya Karima initiative. Politically, the presidential leadership program, which is injecting the administrative system with a lot of younger minds. Educationally, which is a main product of, it's a main goal of the sustainable development. We have a lot of programs in the educational system. So I think there is a direct linkage between the sustainable development goals and what the country does.
Indeed. If I only have 2 minutes left for me here.
Thank you.
And let me ask you here before I end up this episode, what is your personal dreams for youth in this upcoming stage? What do we want? What do youth want here from the leadership and from the government?
Oh, this is an astonishing question and surprising one, by the way. I'm not speaking about myself. I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of young people. We need decent life. We need good and viable job opportunities. We need a much better future. I think we are doing this with our hands, with our minds, and with the help of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi with his vision. I think our dreams are coming true. If it's not now, it's going to be in the very near future.
I guess with your determination and will.
Of course.
And you are entitled for that, our youth.
Thank
yes,
you
indeed.
Thank you so much.
Indeed. Mr. Mohamed Amer, member of the Presidential Leadership Program, the PLP, and coordinator of the International Relations and Conferences. We thank you so much for being with us and
Thank
for
you
your
so much,
input.
madam. Thank you so much.
Dear viewers, many thanks for watching. Next Daily Debate will be on Sunday with a very important topic. Until then, it's good night.